Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live. Coming at you, bottom of the eighth inning. Drake Baldwin, 5 for 5 on the day. Where can we get one of these guys? Where can we get a Drake Baldwin, baby? Come on. Jeez. Whew. Maybe it's Malcolm Moore. That'd be nice. That would be nice, but my goodness, Drake Baldwin, Ranger killer. Why is it always catchers? Why is it always opposing catchers that choose to just become the most elite of the elite hitter against the Texas Rangers? It is mind-blowing. We got Shea Langoliers. I mean, that one's a given. We got Drake Baldwin in the NL. Look, really any other catcher, it feels like, going up against the Rangers, it just becomes an all-star, becomes a future Hall of Famer. You just can't make this up. Look, I got to go here as well, my guy. Defense is awful. Good to see you as always, man. Thank you for the comments. Yeah, the defense, it's crazy to me. I know that I sound like a broken record posting during the games, but it just seriously blows my mind. And I know we're missing Simeon. I know Seager is not up the middle, and Seager was a Gold Glove finalist last year. Let's put a little respect on his name. I know most of us are ready to move Corey to first base or DH permanently. He was a Gold Glove finalist last year. I know we're missing those two up the middle, but it never ceases to amaze me that this team, less than 9 months ago, won the team Gold Glove. They edged out the Toronto Blue Jays, who obviously won the pennant last year. It is mind-blowing to me that this team has taken such a fall defensively. And look, Josh Jung, I mean, dude, giveth and taketh, right? You had a great play by JJ over there, making a catch up against the netting. Literally, what was it? Very next play, you have the complete brain cramp there. I know some people are going to get on Nicky Lopez, and I'll admit, I do think Nicky probably should have stayed a little closer to the bag. JJ's got to get rid of that ball. I know what he's thinking. He doesn't want the runner to get to second base behind Olsen. You've got to get rid of the ball. You have to get in out there. You know what? Even if the Braves manage to get that runner all the way to second base, you've got to get in out there, man. Ethan, I wasn't even trying to bring up Travis d'Arnaud. My goodness. Travis d'Arnaud, I mean, that it is him and Langoliers neck and neck. d'Arnaud Langoliers. Ugh. Yeah, look, JJ is a guy that obviously is swinging a pretty good bat. As Langford, he got all this one. My goodness, Wyatt. I mean, look, the Rangers are definitely not losing this game because of Wyatt Langford, man. He has had a great game today. Good stuff from him, man. 422 feet, 105 off the bat. Hello. 8-5 now. You're saying there's a chance. There's a chance, baby. We got a 3-run deficit. Man, imagine had you not given up the Baldwin shot, you'd only be down 2 right now. That would be so much easier than 3. JJ first pitch hacking, and we got a great play down there. Was that Austin Riley? What a great play, man. Getting the short hop like that. Austin Riley, the Rangers may have just done Austin Riley a massive favor. Austin Riley has not been good over the last couple of seasons, really since signing that huge contract. Austin Riley, the Rangers may be resurrecting his career single-handedly. Like, I'm being dead serious right now. This dude is on one ever since he's played Texas. I think the Kyle Higashioka pitching move woke him up, man. He hits the bomb off Higgy in the Friday night game, and he has been looking great ever since. Brandon Nimmo takes a healthy hack through strike 1 here. Yeah, look, JJ, we've discussed it. Jung is probably a guy the Rangers have got to be thinking of moving off of for third base. That doesn't mean that they're going to get rid of him, although I do think the Rangers are probably going to consider and maybe see what JJ's market is. I don't think that is an unwise decision. I know a lot of people love Josh Jung. And look, Josh Jung is a guy I root for as well. I say this all the time. Those of you that have been following me the past 3 years, he's a Texas boy, San Antonio born, Texas Tech guy. I mean, there's nothing to not like about the backstory, man? It's a great story for JJ. Now he's a Texas Ranger. You just want to see this man succeed. You really do. But the Rangers, they've got to do what's best for their business and for themselves. And I do think, at least at third base, you're not thinking about Josh Jung as the future down there, man. He is slow. He's not as athletic as you'd like your third baseman to be, and the defense has just taken such a turn. Jung has definitely taken a fall in that regard. Burger up to bat right now. 0-1 count. Here's the pitch. Fly ball left field should do it. Looks like Dubon is under it, and the Rangers will drop the series to the Braves by a score of 8-5. Man, I'll tell you this, that 3-run seventh inning, it's really all the more painful considering that, the Rangers had the ability to win this ball game if not for melting down in that inning, right? Hindsight's 2020, the butterfly effect, you really can't do it in this game, but man, you take away that seventh inning, the Rangers probably win this ball game, right? I mean, look, it's not a given. It's not a given. The Drake Baldwin late home run, who knows? But man, going into that frame, it is 4-3. Rangers scored 2 more runs. You hand it over to Junis and Latz. I think you could easily have won this ball game today. Easily. Yeah, I literally just said, what's up, my guy? I literally just said the Rangers, Braves fans and Braves in general should be thanking the Rangers. We may have single-handedly resurrected Austin Riley's career. Single-handedly. If Austin Riley goes on to have an incredible season, you need to circle this series. July 17th to 19th. Circle it if Austin Riley goes on to have some massive resurgence here. Seriously. He has been, ever since that home run that he hit off of the Rangers catcher, Kyle Higashioka, he's been cooking. He has been cooking. Colts fan, but this is a given, right? I mean, look, this is why the standard is so high. Beltre, for years down at the hot corner, man, anything that was over there, anything that was even in his vicinity, the dude was a freaking vacuum. And so, look, JJ's had some good years defensively, but this has been a terrible year. It's been a horrible year for Josh Jung defensively. It's just unfortunate because he's had such a good year at the plate. Although I did post during the game, when it comes to Josh Jung, he has got to do something in the offseason, man. He has got to hit the weights, get all the creatine in your system that you can. He is hitting some of these baseballs well, man. Like, he had a well-struck drive to the track. I mean, he has got to turn some of these long drives to the track into home runs, man. He had one, in the 6th or 7th inning, I want to say? Like, he has got to have a little bit more pop, man. He could be turning some of these long outs into homers. I know that clearly you're not going to be getting a lot faster when it comes to JJ putting on a few more pounds of muscle. I'm not worried about that. The guy is never going to be a speed demon out there. You might as well put a little bit of muscle on that body, man. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have any, but you would love to have JJ with a little bit more pop than what he's showing right now. A little more pop, please. Yeah, we can't quite get the consistency going with the wins. I totally agree there. JN says Jung needs to train with Canseco. I'm not saying go that far. He's got to do something, man. Like, I was looking up JJ's height and weight, man. And, he's according to MLB, he's 6'1", 215, man. That's like about my size, man. And I don't work out a ton or anything like that, but man, I am 6 foot, probably 215, 220. I'm like, JJ's got to be a little bit up in that department, man. He's got some room to improve. I mean, I can do 6 foot, 215. Yeah, that's me walking on a baseball field right now. Now, obviously, I don't have even half the skill Josh Jung does. But, man, he has got to figure out a way to turn some of these warning track hits into homers. 100%. He needs to start looking like Austin Riley. That's a great comment, Jackson. He does. Hayden, I'm with you. Just a bad game. really, offensively, not terrible. Defensively, just a really, really bad game. Nathan Eovaldi, not sharp. Maybe the illness and what he was fighting coming out of the All-Star break plays a factor today. It's really hard to say. Evo, I think we have to kind of have an honest conversation. You look at the numbers with Eovaldi right now, and I mean, he is sitting at a 4.21 ERA. Evo's not the reason the Rangers, aren't in a better place right now. And by the way, the Rangers are still in first. I think we do have to say those things out loud here, but Eovaldi has not been quite the same this year. He has had moments of brilliance, but he's had moments like this. He's been inconsistent as well. We talk about Mackenzie Gore's inconsistency. We have to talk about Nathan Eovaldi, man. You've got good outings from him, and you've got even good stretches from him. 3 games, 4 games of really good pitching from Evo. And then he gives you one of these. I think it's just an adjustment. Evo is aging. You're not obviously throwing triple digits anymore like Eovaldi was coming into his career in his first few years in the league. I say this all the time. I mean, let's not be forgetting Nathan Eovaldi was right behind Aroldis Chapman in the 2010s for hardest throwers in the league. I mean, this guy was a flamethrower. And DeGrom is obviously the same way. DeGrom routinely hit triple digits during his time in the Mets with the fastball. And so when you consider that these guys are aging, obviously you're losing a little bit of your velocity. You do have to make adjustments. And we've seen Evo go curveball a lot this year. Clearly, Evo is a bit of a splitty guy, and he goes a lot to the curveball this year. I do think those are the adjustments that he's making, trying to make it through and fight through some of the loss of velo. And maybe you're going to see him steady out eventually. Maybe he's going to eventually this year find that really consistent run, but, it's been tough. I do think we have to say, look, against the Angels on July 9th, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Against the Tigers, 5 innings, 3 earned runs. Had 9 and 10 strikeouts in those games, respectively. Atlanta's a good team. I was going back and forth with a couple of people on X. Some people were trying to kind of like downplay Atlanta's offense. This is a really good offense. They scored 29 runs in this series. I mean, look, I don't think that they're the best offense in the league, but Atlanta is a really good offense, man. They've got some quality players. Drake Baldwin, obviously, showing you what he's got. And Matt Olson has been a dude for the last probably 10 years. I mean, this is definitely a team that is high quality in my mind. In terms of runs scored, they're, I think, pretty close to top 5 in the league. I don't think we hit the panic button totally on this series. I mean, let me just say that as many times as I can. I don't step away from this game completely hitting the panic button, but what I will say is they constantly keep your hand close to it. The Rangers do. You have the bad defense today. There's other things you can point to as well. Yes, the consistency or lack thereof with the pitching. There were just a number of things that get put on display today. And you know what I take away from it? Honestly, this is what happens when you play really good teams, and the Braves are a really good team. How many games above 500 are they in the better league? The National League, clearly better than the AL this year. We do need to put some respect on the Braves. I'm not trying to go full-blown Skip Schumacher after a loss, giving all the credit in the world to the Braves. I know I probably sound like that. I think you've heard me criticize plenty today what the Rangers didn't do well. But if we are trying to get just a based perspective here, I think you definitely have to consider the opponent across the way. And the Rangers have, by and large, played pretty well against top opponents this year. They have a winning record against teams over 500. And even after this series, I believe they're now 21-18 against teams over 500. White Sox are going to be tough. The fighting Will Venables, if you will, they are going to be a tough task. They beat Trey Savage today in Toronto. So this is a team that is playing well, is well coached. I think a lot of people really respect the job Will Venable is doing. How could you not, right? What he's doing with the White Sox is to be lauded and appreciated. Rangers are not going to be able to take any days off in the next 3. I mean, look, literally and metaphorically speaking. You do have DeGrom going tomorrow. Helpful. We're going to preview the series at the end of the show. but you've got a little bit of a tough stretch right here against some good teams that are playing good baseball. No denying that. Let me go to comments and let me keep on rolling here. JN, I'm kind of with you on the Venable thing. I think that the Rangers just had way too much respect for Boch, right? I mean, after the 24 season, it didn't go well, and you really 1 year removed from a World Series championship, you really didn't necessarily want to get rid of Bochy. I don't think a lot of people were on that page either. You know, I think a lot of people were willing to blame the front office. After 24, I think you were more upset and pissed off at Chris Jung and Ray Davis for not going more all in and doubling down on a World Series champion. I know I was. That was my biggest thing. You just won the World Series. Let's double down. Don't do what the Mavs did after 2011. Gut the team. Right? Who could forget that? If you're a DFW sports fan, nobody is going to ever forget. I don't want to say never forgive, but some fans, I'm sure, it's quite unforgivable what Mark Cuban did after the 2011 championship. You know, wasting the last prime years of Dirk Nowitzki's career. Totally ridiculous move. And the Rangers, I think, fell victim to the same decision. You could have easily gone all in, pushed your chips to the table. We won in 23. If we're being honest, we probably weren't expecting that at the onset of the season. Clearly, every team is going to say, yeah, we want to win a World Series this year. Duh, what team isn't going to do that? But I think deep down, I'm not sure the Rangers at the onset of the year thought this is a World Series team. Maybe they did. Maybe truly they did. I know at the beginning of 2023, if I'm being real, I did not think that the team was winning the World Series. Did I think they could make the playoffs? Yeah, I did. Did I think they were going to win it all? No, absolutely not. And there were definitely trying times during that season along the way. Now, I think bringing it full circle here, Will Venable obviously departs after 2024. And you had an opportunity at that point, you know, to make a move, and, you know, you chose to let him go. He was kind of seen as the manager in waiting, if you will. And then they got Skip Schumacher on board, and the rest is history. I don't think Skip is doing a bad job this year. I don't know if I'm completely sold yet, if I'm just being honest. I know the record in one-run games, there's a lot being made of that. I know Jared Sandler, who I'm looking at right now on the post-game show, I know Jared was posting this morning about Skip's overall record. Since 23, Skip has the best one-run game record among all managers over the past, 3 seasons. I think that most of us understand record in one-run games is definitely a cool stat. But if you're really good in one-run games, ridiculously good, I think most of us compute that's not going to last forever, right? The odds are you're not going to be that exceptional in one-run games at a sustained pace. You're going to eventually fall back to the norm. And so while I do think it should be praised and applauded, I think it's also worth saying when you have a really elite record in one-run games, eventually that is going to fall back down to earth. Now, Skip, with what he's been dealt, I do think you have to say it's been a positive outcome. I think a lot of us said at the beginning of the year, the Rangers didn't do enough in the offseason. I also think there are some players on this roster that are not necessarily Skip Schumacher guys. And what I mean by that is I don't think that there are 100% across the board players, especially on the offensive side of things, that are fitting the philosophy and what Skip Schumacher really would like to see. And I think that this offseason is going to be very interesting in that regard. And even the trade deadline might be very interesting in that regard as Skip gets more invested and has more of a say, not a complete say, but at least a say in the roster management and the roster construction. I do feel like you have to say net positive for Skip, although I will say this. I don't think that I'm willing to sit here and say incredible, amazing, awesome. I do think that right now the Rangers are benefiting from a really bad division and just kind of a mediocre American League in general. And I think that going up against some of these NL teams, you're seeing a little bit of that. Yes, the Rangers beat the Cubs 2 out of 3. But clearly you're falling back down to earth a little bit here against a really good Braves team. And there's other examples we could go through as well. I'm going to keep rolling to comments here. You guys know how it works. Sometimes I get a little off track, but nevertheless, just how it goes on the show sometimes, man. Let's see. Dodgers plus 156, Brewers plus 129, Braves plus 108 run difference. We need bats. Yeah, we do. The Rangers have a negative run differential, and they have a losing expected record. Their expected record is below 500. Now, again, not all of us buy into the Pythagorean theorem, expected win-loss, blah, blah, blah. I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea, and it's not necessarily mine either, although I do find the advanced stats interesting. The Rangers, I do think everything points to they're fortunate. I know that some people are really going to probably push back on this. We've got, obviously, in the Twitterverse and in the social media verse, there's a lot of Rangers fans that, and a lot of Rangers creators that choose to just, be totally glass half full eternally. And look, I can respect it to an extent. I do think it becomes a little disingenuous at times, but I think when you look at the Rangers run differential, you look at their expected record, it's clear that they're getting a little bit fortunate, right? And they're winning a lot of those one-run games, which has been well documented, well advertised, well publicized. But I think that there are things that this team needs to do to get better. And yes, bats are definitely, I think, front and center. Bullpen would be nice. The bullpen gives up more of a lead today. You don't really have a lot of solid options beyond Alexander and Junis and Latz. I know there's some guys that are having decent years for being a rookie. If you frame it within that lens and perspective, yes, it gets a little bit better, but there's not a lot of guys that are really trustworthy in a big spot right now outside of those three that I just mentioned. And so a bullpen piece probably is top priority, Darnell, and others that are talking about going to get a bat. That being said, I think that you've seen me pretty consistently say, this offense needs help, right? You got Zeke Duran hitting sixth. And look, I'm not trying to disrespect Zeke Duran. Zeke Duran is not a middle of the order hitter. Zeke Duran is not a top of the order hitter. Zeke Duran is a 7, 8, 9 hitter, and that's probably where he should be. But because of injuries to Corey Seager and just because of, I think, a lack of talent and depth in general, you've got Zeke Duran hitting in the 6 hole. And I know he had a double and a couple walks yesterday, but Zeke Duran is hitting just slightly north of 200 over his last 30 games. Now, was he deserving, I think, of a little bit more all-star recognition? Yeah, I do, especially in comparison to his competitors. But if we are just looking at what he's done in a Rangers uniform over the last month, he's hitting, like I said, I think 211, 212 over his last 30, and the OPS is below 700. He is definitely falling a little bit back to earth. That doesn't mean he can't hit a home run tomorrow and have a great game. But if we're looking at the 30-game history, it's definitely more in line with what we're used to from Zeke. Hopefully he figures out a way to get back on track. He gets a little bit of a hot streak going. That would obviously be what we all like to see. But I do think when you're thinking about a trade target, I've always kind of said Zeke Duran can play anywhere. Zeke Duran, in my mind, should be what Josh Smith was for the Rangers the last 2 seasons. Just like that catch-all guy. Hey, somebody needs a breather. Josh Jung, you need a breather at third base. Zeke Duran will fill the spot. Corey Seager, you need a day off at shortstop. Zeke's going in. Hey, one of the outfielders, Wyatt Langford, we want to do a little maintenance day on Wyatt, throw Zeke out and left. I do think second base, although Nicky Lopez had a great game today, I know he got deked on that stolen base attempt. I really don't know. I'm gonna give Nicky a lot of benefit of the doubt because he has been really sharp this year. I really don't understand how you have the slide there, the dive there. Sorry, I'm knowing my phone's blowing up. I don't know how you have that happen with the crack of the bat in the background. I don't know if the stadium was just like, totally loud and you weren't able to hear. I just don't even understand how Nicky didn't hear Joc hit that ball 100 miles an hour, man. That wasn't like a soft contact hit. Joc nailed the crap out of that opposite field double, right? I just don't even understand, how did Nicky not hear the bat, man? If the bat makes that loud of a noise, I just don't even understand how you slide. But I'm going to give Nicky some benefit of the doubt, man. He had 3 hits today and really has been pretty mistake-free most of his Rangers tenure. Skip on the mic, guys. I'm going to listen in real quick. Talking about Evo right now. Big text, the solution is getting dissolved. Gotta laugh sometimes, don't you? And then also Baldwin and Riley just had an amazing series, and we just couldn't contain them. Yep, they woke up Austin Riley, unfortunately, man. Austin was hovering above the Mendoza line. Rangers woke him right up, baby. Skip blaming Jung for that error. Good to see Skip calling Jung out there, not harshly, but at least letting Josh Jung know, dude, that's you. That's on you, baby. Zeke on that play in the 7th, Zeke really sat back. I know some people, aren't quite registering that. Zeke really sat back on that ground ball, and Dubon was running hard and got a good secondary. Zeke really needed to play that more aggressively if you wanted to go 2. Otherwise, just go 1. And we had good at-bats. We scored 5 runs. There was a lot of offense today. I don't know how many hits we ended up with, over 10, at least 10. So the offense was really good. I thought we put together some really good at-bats. I would agree with Skip. The offense, I thought, actually, I know we were talking about getting a bat. Offense really, in my mind, wasn't the problem today. Yeah, so that was actually, if you guys know, sometimes I'll let it rip after a Skip presser like that. I thought that was one of Skip's best press conferences or best interviews with Laura. You saw him be honest about the Josh Jung mistake. That was he pretty much said that was on JJ. He's got to get rid of the ball. Some people were trying to blame Lopez for leaving the base. He's leaving the base because Josh Jung isn't throwing it, and Matt Olson is about to barrel back into him. Like, Josh Jung's got to get rid of that ball. I know that, in JJ's mind, he's trying to avoid having the batter make it all the way to second base, which is valid, but it can't be at the expense of not getting the out. So JJ, totally his fault there. You've got to get rid of the ball. Skip basically said that as much. So I would appreciate it if we could stop debating that. Some people real quick to defend Josh Jung. You got the manager saying, nope, it's JJ's fault. So let's put that to bed. There's really no need to go back and forth about that. JJ's got to get rid of the ball there, baby. He's got to. Has to. It's sad because he had such a good play on that foul ball right up against the net. Very impressive catch. And then the very next batter, you do that, dude. It's too bad. The Rangers really melted down defensively in that 7th inning. And then, as I said, the bullpen, you've got to do a better job in the face of adversity. Peyton Gray, I think we can all agree, got screwed out of a pretty good outing. You look at some of the things that happened to him, and Tyler Alexander as well, right? The Rangers should have been out of that inning multiple times. And unfortunately, because of the bad defense, you had to have pitchers giving up more base runners and runs than what they probably should have. And can I just say this? You guys know this is a personal soapbox thing for me, but let me say this loud and clear. This game is a perfect example of why you should never, ever use fielding percentage in an argument. Never use fielding percentage in a baseball argument. Please do it for me. For nobody else. The Rangers had 0 errors today. Tell me how that makes sense. 0 errors. This is why you never trust fielding percentage, ever. Clearly, there's about 2 or 3 errors on the base paths because of Rangers defense today. Clearly, 0 errors for the Rangers defense today. Too much, man. Too much. Let's see. Nicky Lopez screwed up the game. Look, I do agree that the base running miscue by Lopez was huge, but honestly, the defensive melt was way bigger. I tweeted out during the game, it was a little bit wild to me how much RSN was focusing on that Nicky Lopez base running mistake. Like, I have seen RSN gloss over much worse. Like Kyle Higashioka's catcher interference. How many catcher's interferences has Kyle Higashioka racked up this year? And yes, I know Higgy had the nice double in the 8th inning. Good for him. How many catcher's interferences does Higgy have this year? Like, it is odd to me what RSN chooses to focus on, what the broadcast crew chooses to lock in on. Like, they were locked in on that Nicky Lopez thing for like 5 minutes after it happened. But then you see much more egregious mistakes get totally glossed over. Like, they should have been ripping Josh Jung a new one up and down. I know that they were showing the replays and all that. That, to me, was a much more impactful play in the grand scheme of the game than Nicky Lopez stuff. Radio guys, you know what? This doesn't shock me at all that they didn't dwell on it. RSN was going on for like 5 minutes about the Nicky Lopez base running miscue. Like, first of all, Nicky Lopez has made very few mental mistakes this year. It's like, if there's one guy you kind of want to give the benefit of the doubt to, it's Nicky Lopez. The guy's hitting over 300, probably the best contact hitter on the team. Look, I think his season for Texas is unbelievable. You consider the Rangers wanted Josh Smith to be the everyday player. It hasn't worked out. They pick up Nicky Lopez from the Cubs. The guy has a .315 batting average, and this is in over 100 plate appearances. I mean, look, I get Nicky Lopez did not have his best day on the base pass, but he had 3 hits today, and he has a .315 average, and the mental mistakes coming from him are incredibly rare. I'm going to give Nicky Lopez a little bit of a pass today. I'm not going to say it was perfect game from him, but I'm surely not pointing at Nicky Lopez for the reason the Rangers lost today. Evo talking right now. I'll have it quiet in the background. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it was a good deke by Albies, but nevertheless, you hear the crack of the bat. Joc hit that ball 100 miles an hour. I don't understand. I'll give Nicky the benefit of the doubt. I don't even get how you don't hear that. I mean, Joc crushed that baseball. 100 miles an hour. I don't even understand that. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the pitch location. It felt like Evo was not locating very well today. Like, there were just a number of pitches left over the heart of the plate. I mean, typically, this isn't rocket science. That's what's going on when you're not having a good day. You're generally leaving too much out over the plate and you're missing location. And it did feel like that was what happened with Eovaldi today, no doubt. Kenny says RSM producers are awful. They're not baseball experts, and Raymond isn't very baseball savvy. Kenny, what's good, man? Always good to see you, brother. Mac Daddy, I'm with you on trading Higgy. Look, I don't dislike Higgy, but I don't think that it's worked out amazingly for Texas. I feel like they probably thought they were getting a little bit more pop. Higgy this year hitting .218, OPS below 700, below 675. I think the Rangers probably thought they were going to get a little bit more pop out of Higgy. Maybe not, but I think with DJ, starting to ramp things up a little bit, I don't think they have an exact timetable for Danny Jansen, but I do wonder if the Rangers maybe part ways with Higgy by the deadline. Jansen's got, about 2 more weeks to get healthy. Not sure what his prognosis is, but at this point, I do think the Rangers, if you can find a trade partner for Kyle, That would be nice. I don't know if you're going to really be able to carry the three catchers once they get back. And I don't think that you are going to be DFAing Danny Jansen, who you just signed to a 2-year, whatever, $15 million contract. Yeah, Higgy in back-to-back games did surprise me as well. Now, you look at Diaz and you look at what he's done recently. Like, I guess you could say Diaz has cooled off a little bit, but the guy's hitting 250 over his last 7 games. Like, I don't know what more you're really wanting from him. Maybe he is under the weather. Maybe there is something going on, Steve. I must say, I was surprised to not see Diaz today. I mean, again, he's not like tearing the cover off the ball, but look, he's hitting 256 over his last 15 games. I'll take that. And I will take the defense that you get from Diaz as well. Diaz is not, getting catcher's interference calls every other week and then also just totally allowing the Braves to run wild on the base pass. We know that Diaz is preventing, just his presence is preventing teams from stealing as often. I did a breakdown of this probably a week or two ago. Teams are stealing about 50% off of Diaz, like attempting 50% less steals just when Diaz is behind the plate. Just the threat of him potentially throwing out somebody, teams are less willing to steal at about a 50% clip. I mean, that speaks volumes. I don't know what's going on with him. Not sure if Higgy had good numbers against anybody today. I don't think so. We reviewed that last night. I don't think that was the case. I'd love to see Elias Diaz really have not too many days off. I mean, I'd like to see him in 5 out of 7 games. I mean, I don't know if his body, they're worried about it holding up, but Elias Diaz, if you're playing a 7-game week, I need to see Diaz in 5 of those 7. Don't give me none of this 4 out of 7. It doesn't need to be that equally distributed, man. It needs to be 5 games of Diaz, maybe 2 games of Higgy at this point. I hope a major trade is coming with the bats, especially. Just don't know. I mean, it is going to be a very interesting trade deadline. It really will be. With Evo's fastball not being as good this year, he isn't throwing it as much, reducing the potential of good pitches. He's going to throw easier to guess what's coming. We were talking about this earlier. Eovaldi's, I mean, he came into the league a flamethrower, man, and it is a tough adjustment for some guys. I mean, he was throwing above 100 pretty routinely when he was coming up with the Marlins and the Yankees and the Dodgers. He's had to adjust, man. He's sitting, 96 at this point, still throwing hard, but he is going through, I think, that adjustment period. You've seen him, like I said, go to the curveball a lot. He used to be fastball, splitty. You're seeing him go to that curveball quite a bit this year. I think he's adjusting. I think he's good enough that he's going to figure it out, but I think this has been an adjustment year for him. That is for sure. I really do. Is Osuna back on the bench calling? Yes, he is. Osuna back on the bench. He has not played much at all. I think the more I'm thinking about it, I could be dead wrong on this, but the more I think about it, the more I really wonder if Osuna is going to be some trade bait. I think the Rangers right now, the farm is a little bit depleted. If the Rangers are going to make a move, I think they're going to have to trade some MLB depth. And I think Osuna is a nice young player that some teams would look at and enjoy having on the squad. I think that Rangers fans sometimes take Alejandro for granted. That's just my opinion. I know there's a lot of talk about his defense. I think he has played less than a full season in the big leagues. Got to give this guy some grace, man, defensively. We're giving a lot of grace to other guys. We got on a big Evan Carter rant yesterday. I'm going to try not to today. We're giving a lot of grace to other players for not swinging the bat very well. I think we got to get some grace to Alejandro Osuna and the defense. I think that historically speaking, he's been a pretty good defender in the minor leagues. And I think that with more gameplay, he's going to get better in that department. Osuna not going off with the bat, 255 average, but he finds a way to get on base, man. He just does. And he's a disruptor. He is an upsetter. He will figure out a way to make his mark on a game, whether it is making a pitcher throw more pitches, whether it is drawing a walk in a big moment, whether it's getting a hit in a big moment. I'd like to see Osuna more, but he's got a tough path. Obviously, they're trying to do everything they can to give Evan Carter opportunities to do well. He had the big home run yesterday. It's not a day, I think, even though Evan Carter goes hitless today, 0 for 2, it's not a day to rag on Carter. He had a big home run yesterday. Happy for him. Want to see Evan Carter do well. I have been very consistent in my criticism of Carter, but also I've been very consistent in my assertion that the Rangers are a much better team if they can get the version of Evan Carter, or at least even a tier below the version of the Evan Carter that we saw in 2023. I'm rooting for Evan Carter to do well. It's unfortunate that Evan Carter's playing time and Wyatt Langford's obviously return from the IL means that Osuna is the odd man out. I think a lot of people like Osuna, fan of what he brings to the team, but unless Osuna starts playing some first base and potentially platooning with Jacob Burger, I don't think you're going to see a lot of Osuna over the next week or two, barring an injury, which I don't want to see. Nobody wants to see Wyatt Langford go down, Brandon Nimmo go down. I think Osuna, maybe Josh Smith. There's some other MLB depth guys, maybe Ezekiel Duran even. I'm not saying that just because he had a little bit of a rough series. I think the Rangers could be wise to see if you can sell high on Duran. I know he's controllable. I know he's cheap. Some of you guys have checked me on that. I get it. But controllable and cheap is the perfect trade piece. I don't know who said that yesterday. I'm not trying to steal anybody's material here. If a guy is controllable, cheap, and producing, that is the perfect trade bait. Perfect trade bait. So I do think that Zeke Duran, Josh Jung, not necessarily this year, but in the offseason, I think those guys could be interesting to at least dangle out there and see what you can get. Osuna for Lane Thomas would be a bit wild for me. But Lane Thomas getting a lot of airtime in Rangers chats, man. I'll pass on Lane. I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he does much for Texas chances. That's just me. I don't think Lane Thomas, an acquisition of him, really moves the needle a ton. If you sell high on anybody, it's Jung. Do agree on that. Tyler, I don't think they're selling. I don't think there's any way, my guy. Good to see you, by the way. Appreciate the comments. I've been very, very straightforward on this. A lot of people push back on me sometimes when I talk about buying. They're like, buy, Austin. They need to sell, dude. What are you talking about? I'm like, bro, we both know. We both know that CY is not selling. He's not selling. Like, he's not selling in any way in terms of like the good players that we have on the roster. Like, could he maybe sell like an MLB depth guy like Osuna? Sure. I could see him trading Osuna. I could see him trading Josh Smith. I could see him potentially trading Ezekiel Duran. I could see him trading Higgy. I could see him potentially trading a Joc Pederson, even though Joc had a great series in Atlanta. I could see CY doing maybe some soft selling like that. There's no way he's going to sell, Evo, DeGrom, Seager. There's no way he's going to trade off the big boys. Like, next year in CY's mind, I guarantee he's thinking, I can reload and I can maybe sign a couple of guys. Maybe Walcott breaks camp and is on the major league roster at the beginning of the 2027 season. In CY's mind, regardless of what happens this year, I think he's looking at next year as, man, I can reload and we can be a really good team in 2027, assuming baseball is played, which I think it will be, but maybe they have to delay the start of the season, something like that. But I don't think there's going to be any kind of hard sale on this team. I think that the argument's fair that it could be better for the future if CY would, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And so I just haven't spent a lot of time talking about, the possibility of selling. I don't see it with Chris Jung. Just way too competitive. He has shown his cards, shown his true colors in that regard over the last couple of seasons when the Rangers have been in a worse position than this. Like in 2024, weren't we like 5 games? I feel like we were like 4 or 5 games out in 2024, weren't we? And we were buying. That was like the Carson Kelly. Who was it that we got? Why is the name slipping me? Big Country. When we got Big Country and we got Carson Kelly, weren't we like 4 or 5 games out that year? And we still bought? I just don't see any world where we don't go out and buy some players, man. Langoliers to the Rangers would be fun. I mean, Langoliers, Rockwall guy, DFW guy. He loves hitting in Arlington. Langoliers would be a fun guy to bring on. I think that I would be all in on a Shea Langoliers trade as long as you're not having to sell the entire farm. I don't think the Rangers are going to trade Walcott. I know we've talked about that a number of times this year. I don't think the Rangers are trading Walcott. I think they might part with a Scarborough, maybe a Winston Santos. I think there are guys in the top 5 that they would deal. I don't see them trading Walcott. I don't think there's any way that they do that. Maybe. What, Ethan, you were a Rockwall graduate. I wonder, was that the high school that he went to? Look, I'm not going to pretend like I know every single high school in the DFW area, if there's multiple in Rockwall or not. But, yeah, Shea Langoliers, Rockwall guy. There you go, 2011. Hey, that's my year, man. Well, actually, college. I'll date myself a little bit. 07 for high school, 11 for college, baby. Nick Kurtz didn't sign a big contract extension with the A's. He might be on the market. Woo! Can we get Nick Kurtz playing first base in Ranger red, white, and blue? Oh, I would love to see that. No offense to Jake Berger. Like the guy. If you give me Nick Kurtz in Ranger red, white, and blue, hello, please. Yes, please. I don't know what that is going to take, but I totally would be on board with getting him. If the Rangers fired Skip right now, what would my reaction be? What a question, man. That's a great question. Great hypothetical. You guys know I'm always down for a good hypothetical. I would be surprised. I would definitely be surprised. Obviously, I would think to myself, probably a little bit quick on the trigger. But I wouldn't think to myself, man, this is season ending. If that maybe gives you a little bit of a clue. If Skip was fired today, I would be a little bit shocked, a little surprised, but I wouldn't be sitting there thinking to myself, season over. What are we going to do, without Skip? Maybe that sounds disrespectful, but I have said a number of times this year, the jury's out for me on the effectiveness. It is. I think Skip is doing a good job steering the ship, keeping the ship afloat. I'm not sure how many wins Skip has been worth this year or how many losses Skip has been worth this year. That to me is definitely an interesting hypothetical, but I can't say I would be glooming and dooming if Skip was suddenly let go. Don't get it twisted. I'm not advocating for his firing. But the hypothetical question was, what would my reaction be if Skip was fired today? Surprised, a little shocked, but I would not be negative, glass half empty. Oh, this is the worst thing in the world. What are we doing? I don't think you'd probably see that from me. I think I would be wondering the reasoning, the sudden firing mid-season when the team is in first place, but I don't think I would be totally hitting the panic button on the season. Smith, Osuna, and some prospects for Kurtz. Don't know if that's going to get it done. I'm sure the A's would ask for Walcott, and I probably wouldn't be willing to do that. I just think I need to see Walcott a little bit more for me to feel great about dealing him in that sense, in that regard. Nick Kurtz has been very, very good over the last couple of years, but man, I would probably pause a little bit on dealing Walcott there. I wouldn't totally say no, but I do think you would try your best to trade other guys that are not Walcott in a deal like that, if you could help it. You might have to give up some top 5 guys. I would probably at this point do everything I can to hold on to Walcott, not be unwilling to trade him, but I would be willing to deal him for the right guy. Nick Kurtz, he's right there, man. I mean, look, you've got to give up some prospects, that's for sure. You've got to be willing to give up some prospects to get a Nick Kurtz type. The Bay Area got 2 stud first basemen. Yup, that's true. I don't think you're going to have to give up this much. Dan, I agree with you. Ethan, I don't think you're going to have to give up that much. I don't think you're going to have to give up Scarborough and Gio Rojas. Maybe you have to give up Scarborough. I would probably see if you could give up Santos, if Santos would interest them. And then I think you try to trade an MLB depth piece. I think you do whatever you can to not trade away Walcott. You might not be able to avoid it. We don't have meaningful I disagree a little bit. I think the Rangers can execute 1 or 2 splashy trades this year with the prospects they currently have. Doing that, though, will totally gut the farm system. I think that the notion that the Rangers have nothing that teams would like is probably a little bit too far on the hyperbolic, exaggerating side. I think the Rangers have some prospects that other teams like. I think Scarborough is a prospect that a lot of teams would like. I think Santos does have appeal. Obviously, Walcott has appeal. And then you've got major league depth guys like Duran. Yes, like Josh Jung. Yes, Josh Smith. I think even Josh Smith might still have some appeal too. I think the Rangers have some guys. Now, can they, get the prospect capital together to make 3 or 4 huge trades? Probably not. But can they throw it together for a Nick Kurtz, for maybe one other guy? Yeah, I think they can. I think they've got enough. I think there's definitely a top-heavy component to the Rangers farm system. If you look at their top 5 right now, I think there's some dudes that would definitely get you a return. It's just, I think the drop-off's a little steep. The Rangers, I think, are quite top-heavy with the prospect list. It's just, I think, 1 to 30, the drop-off is pretty sharp. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to guys down on the farm, but if we're talking about evaluations, I think once you get outside of top 5, maybe the top 7, it starts getting a little dicey. Keep rolling. A's need pitching. Maybe give them Gore, Garcia too. Whew. I don't know what Mackenzie Gore's trade value is. I do not know what Mackenzie Gore's trade value would be. I know there's some people after yesterday's start trying to get Mackenzie Gore out of town. I do not know what that dude's trade value would be. I'm not sure it's going to be super high. I don't think it's nothing, but I don't think it's something. We keep rolling. Might need to reactivate cash considerations in a trade. Yep. And I don't know how much the Rangers are willing to take on. I know they have wiggle room, before they get to the luxury tax threshold, right? We talked about this. They probably got about $30 million to play with before they go over. Do they want to spend $30 more million on players? Don't know. But, man, they definitely have the room to take on some salary. Just not sure how much they actually want to. I would not mind seeing the Rangers get a little bit more active. I don't know if they're going to wait till the last second with some of these trades, but I'd love to see them get a little bit more active in the trade market. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw my post today. July 19th, 2000, the day the Rangers traded Esteban Loaiza for Michael Jung, a little-known Double-A minor leaguer. You wonder if the Blue Jays want that trade back, man. Michael freaking Jung for Esteban Loaiza. This day in Rangers history, 26 years ago. I love, I've been doing a lot of those history posts lately, and I love doing those, man. It is so much fun to go back, to go find video, I clipped together Michael Jung's first hit against the Orioles and his last hit. I think it also against the Orioles, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at that. Is that true? First hit and last hit against the Orioles? I know I'm getting off track here. I know we were talking about trades. I think it was. Now, not the regular season hit, but we played the Orioles in Michael Jung's in the playoffs, right? In the wild card game, in Michael Jung's last game as a Ranger, which I don't think we really knew it was going to be his last game. I think there was a thought maybe it could be, but or is it the Tigers? What is it? No. First hit was against the Orioles. First hit was against the Orioles. Last hit was also against the Orioles in the playoff game. That's kind of cool. I don't know why I didn't realize this as I was making the video, but yeah, Michael Jung went 2 for 4 in the Rangers wild card winner take all game against the Orioles, which they obviously eventually lost. Yu Darvish was pitched a great game. Rangers weren't able to win that one. And Michael Jung obviously went to the Phillies in a trade the very next year. Too bad that Mike Jung didn't get to play the rest of his career as a Ranger. In my view, Mike Jung, by the way, I know some people thought he was a little dramatic with the trades. I don't get any kind of negativity towards Mike for being upset that he was getting moved around the entire infield left and right. And remember, the Rangers traded Mike Jung because they wanted to clear the way for future Hall of Famers Mike Olt and Jurickson Profar. That's why the Rangers traded Mike Jung. They wanted to make sure that they could get Mike Olt and Jurickson Profar more reps, baby. I will never think negatively of Mike Jung because he requested some trades because the Rangers were yanking him all over the field. Mike Jung, as a player, as an all-star player, a batting title winner, you're always going to try and do what's best for yourself. I know there's a number of fans that think that players should always be submissive to the team in all circumstances. I don't hold it against Mike Jung that he was pissed off that they were moving him around. Beltre, obviously, Hall of Famer. That makes sense. A-Rod, should have probably been a Hall of Famer if not for the steroids. Would have been a Hall of Famer if not for the steroids for sure. The moves make sense, but I think you can also understand why Mike Jung would have been frustrated. But Mike Jung still showed up to the park and was a gamer. Still was a leader on the team. Didn't, sit around and pout and not produce. I think Mike Jung, obviously one of the most legendary Rangers of all time. Crazy that this day, 26 years ago, the Rangers pulled off that trade and, 2,300 plus hits later. Yeah, I'd say the Rangers got a good deal. All right, let's see. What do we got? More trades. Hunter Green. We love to get the guys, Lord Tubbington, we love to get the guys that are injury prone, though. We love to get the guys that are coming off injury. I feel like every year we're drafting guys that are injured. Who was it that we drafted this year in the 3rd or 4th round that's hurt and needs surgery? You guys help me out. I'm blanking on it live on the show here, but we just drafted a guy that is hurt that is going to need repair. So apparently we like buying low on these injured dudes and resurrecting their careers. I know, look, with modern medicine, a lot of guys, they have arm issues. They have to get surgery. They come back just fine. But, man, we absolutely love to trade and to also sign these guys and draft these guys that have arm issues. Yeah, that's right. It was a Longhorn guy. I remember that. Bamila, yeah. Rangers love drafting these kind of guys. I mean, look, it was something that they did last year too, right? With AJ. They drafted AJ last year, who's, doing great. No doubt AJ Russell is having a really good season this year, but look, they did it with AJ Russell last year. Just out of curiosity, this is interesting. MLB.com has Caden Scarborough ETA is 2027. I did not have that on my radar, but they have Caden Scarborough's ETA is 2027. Interesting. I would have thought Scarborough would be more of a 28 guy. And when I brought up Scarborough, a lot of people have said like, oh, he's not going to help you next year anyway, so he makes sense to trade. MLB.com, which take it with a grain of salt, yeah, but they are saying Scarborough ETA is 2027. Okay. Okie dokie. I guess. They definitely have a few guys I really do feel confident that other teams would be interested in. Really do feel that way. I mean, you look at the top 5, Walcott, Scarborough, Russell, Corniel, Santos, Josh Owens, Davalillo. I mean, you've got a lot of guys I think that would draw some interest. I'm not saying it's the best farm system ever, but I do think the fans that are saying there's nobody that anybody would want from our farm, I don't think that's accurate. I think the Rangers have some good potential, especially in the top 10. I mean, yeah, maybe if you get outside of the top 10, it gets a little dicey, but nevertheless, yeah, you're going to have to give up some good stuff for Hunter Green. Even with the injury, you're going to have to give up some good stuff for him. But is Hunter Green going to actually pitch this season, or is he out for the season? Ethan, do you know? Is he out for the season, or is he coming back at some point? I mean, look, I don't know if I guess you're making a move for the future if he's not really going to come back this year. But nevertheless. All right, y'all, let's wrap up the show a little bit here. Let's go to tomorrow's game. Somebody said on, was it on TikTok or was it here? The real tall guy with the Randy Johnson profile. Yeah, you got it. Matt, you were saying it bothered you that they pitched Evo today. Matt, what's the, you were talking about this earlier too, Matt. I don't know if you're still hanging out or not, buddy, but appreciate the comment. Always good to see you. What would you have done though? And I'm not asking genuinely. I know my tone was like a little accusatory there. What would you have done though? I'm really spitballing with you here. If you don't pitch Evo today, what do? You just go total bullpen game? Start Tyler Alexander? Just go bullpen game? I don't think that would have gone very well. I mean, look, you lost the game anyways, which obviously sucks. But I mean, what would you do if you don't start Evo today? You probably start Tyler Alexander, and what you maybe throw some of the other guys, Alstrom for a couple, Wynn for a couple. You just really try and piece it together. Like, I feel like it would have been tough if you would have done bullpen game today. And you have the off day coming up on Thursday before the Mariners 4-game set. But, man, I just don't know if you wanted to do a big bullpen game today and then you have everybody toasted for that White Sox series. That would be my only pushback on, why did they start Evo today? And look, under the weather, pitching in 90-degree with humidity, I mean, that's not a great ask of a guy that's just been sick. And Eovaldi, if you didn't know, was coming off of illness. So I do understand the notion there. I get the sentiment. I just think it's kind of a lesser of two evils. Do you want to totally toast the bullpen today, or do you want to throw Eovaldi and then have DeGrom throw tomorrow? I don't know. Argentina and Spain are in extra time right now, 0-0. There you go. That's probably what I'll be watching after I get off here. Probably what I'll turn on right after this. I saw it was 0-0 halftime, but obviously getting ready for the show, not really able to hang with it. Although I could easily get it up on YouTube TV here on the other monitor that I have. Maybe I'll do that. Now that we're winding things down. Fetty versus DeGrom tomorrow. Fetty has had a bit of a roller coaster ride over the last couple of years. Like, very, very good young pitcher, gone through some ups and downs. Fetty 415, 5-6 record, 60 Ks on the season against Jake Burger. Former team, by the way. Wonder if Jake Burger's got a little extra juice going into this series. Burger 0 for 3. Diaz 1 for 3 against Fetty. Foscue, who we probably won't see tomorrow, right, because of the righty-righty matchup. Foscue's 0 for 2, Higgy 0 for 1. Don't imagine we'll see Higgy tomorrow. Just the defense plus playing 2 days in a row. I think they'll go Diaz. Josh Jung 0 for 4 against Fetty. Wyatt Langford 0 for 5. This isn't looking good, y'all. Pederson 0 for 7. My goodness. Osuna 0 for 2. Oh, this is ugly. Brandon Nimmo, okay, thank you. Nim saves the day. 7 for 28, 250 average. And Elias Diaz is like the best hitter against this guy, and he's 1 for 3. On the other side, against DeGrom, you got 5 White Sox players that have ABs against DeGrom. Benintendi 0 for 8. Grichuk, a DeGrom crusher. My goodness. Grichuk, 385 average, 13 ABs, 2 bombs. Maydroth, I don't know if I'm saying that right. My bad if I'm not. The second baseman. Maydroth is 2 for 3. Teal, the catcher, 0 for 1. Vargas, all-star, third baseman, is 1 for 3. Not a lot of ABs against DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom, by the way, last start, we remember 5 innings, 2 earned runs against the Angels. He was pulled a little early. We found out it was because of a glute issue that he was having. He rested. DeGrom, by the way, over his last 3 games, has not allowed more than 2 runs in any of those starts over the last 3. You go back, his last start against San Diego was the one where he gave up 6 earned runs. Rangers in that game still managed to get DeGrom the win. Baseball is the weirdest sport in that regard. DeGrom gives up 6 earned runs against the Padres. Rangers were able to come back and win that game. Kind of crazy, but that was a fun game, wasn't it? It was like 5-0, 6-0. Rangers came all the way back to tie it in that bottom of the first inning. That was a great game. DeGrom got the win in that game. That was the last time that he has given up more than 2 earned runs. In fact, if you take out that start against the Padres, DeGrom has not allowed more than 2 earned runs in a start since May 22nd. If you take out that start against the Padres, he has not allowed more than 2 earned runs in a start since May 22nd against the Angels. DeGrom and the Angels, man. I definitely think Rangers are going to have to score some runs tomorrow. That is for sure. For sure. Bradford first 2 innings of every Rocker start is an interesting concept. Bradford pitched pretty well in Double-A, last night or a couple nights ago? Monty got lit up by the Aviators. And I did post, the Aviators are, I think, the best team in the PCL. I believe that's right. I know that they won the first half. They were the best team in the first half. Don't know how they've done in the second half. But the Aviators are a good team. I mean, they're right here in my backyard in Vegas. I do keep up with them a little bit. They're always in the paper. They're definitely always covered here by the local media. So Aviators are a good team. Don't know if you want to hold the Montgomery start against him too much. It's not super encouraging. I mean, it was like 2 innings, 6 earned runs. But look, it's one start. I definitely think Montgomery, you just got to keep the expectations where they should be. Montgomery is needing to be like 2025 Patrick Corbin for us. He's not going to be 23 Montgomery. If he is and he turns into that, amazing. But I think what the Rangers need out of Monty is what 2025 Patrick Corbin gave us. Eat up a lot of innings. Keep us in ball games. Don't get lit up to the point where, we're going to the bullpen in the 3rd inning. Give us 5 or 6 innings every time. We'll be happy. That is what I want to see out of Jordan Montgomery. I think a lot of people are pumping up Monty a little bit too much. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just trying to keep expectations where they should be. This guy has not pitched at an elite level since the ALCS. I know he got hit around a little bit against the Diamondbacks in the World Series. Look, the ALCS is where he shined. Monty really hasn't pitched at that level since then. It's been almost 3 years. And so I think the expectations need to be tempered just a little bit. I hope he comes back and can be a quality innings eater for Texas down the stretch, especially while Jack Leiter recovers. Now, we look at around the league, what's going on right now. You look at the Angels, they are tied right now 1-1 with the Tigers. Mariners are tied 2-2 with the Giants. You have the Astros losing to the Orioles. Man, the Astros are in a bad way right now, and you love to see it. They are in a bad way right now. Anything else? What the A's do? Where are the A's at? A's are losing 5-1 to the Nats. Let's go to the standings. Standings say Rangers maintain first place. Either way, regardless of what happens today, Mariners are just a game out now, but if they lose, they would go back to a game and a half. If the Mariners win today, they would bump up to a half game out of first place. The wild card is getting interesting. Right now, the Mariners are a game and a half out of the wild card, which kind of solidifies what I've talked about at different points this year. In the West, if you're a team in the West, your best path is a division win. I know for a while the Rangers were like in the last wild card spot. Now what you're seeing is the AL East start to heat up, right? The Red Sox, Ethan, you pointed out, have won 13 in a row now. What a story for them. They fire Alex Cora, which was almost universally like, what are you guys doing? You're an unserious organization. The firing of Alex Cora is looking pretty good right now, I would say. 50-48, and the Red Sox are in a playoff spot. Like, at this point, this is what I think exactly what was going to happen. It's happening. The other teams in the AL are starting to heat up a little bit. Shoot, you've got the Guardians. You've got the Twins. The Twins are hanging around 500, man. Like, the Tigers are only 4 games out of a wild card spot. The Tigers, to me, are underperforming. Like, there are just a number of teams in the AL that are underperforming that I think are going to hit their stride in the second half. I do think the Rangers' best path is going to be winning the division. I think it's going to be winning the division, man. Rangers have a negative 31 run differential, and their expected win-loss is 46-53. Rangers are going to have to win this division, man. I do not see the wild card being a super viable option with the quality of teams that are in the AL that have been underperforming up to this point. Boston is on fire, man. They are 100% on fire. I am with you. Seagat, I'm with you on this. You got to win the West. And that's how I felt all season long. And I was surprised that the Rangers were in the wild card hunt really all first half. I think you're going to start seeing some of these teams pull away in the wild card race, especially teams that are in competitive divisions like the AL East, right? Shoot, you got Baltimore. Baltimore at 49-51 is 2 games out of the wild card. It's going to be tough, man. Going to be tough. You got to win the division. Feels like it. All right, y'all. Appreciate you guys. Luis, I'm with you. We got to go get hitters. Rangers are connected to the Rockies and Goodman. Matt, where did you hear that? That's the first I've heard that the Rangers are connected to Hunter Goodman in any way. Has anybody else heard that? Rangers connected to Hunter Goodman? I have not heard that. But maybe I got to get on X here and figure it out. Look, I don't hate it. You're not going to see me, just full disclosure, you're not going to see me hating on any trade in which the Rangers acquire top talent. Will I be like a little, man, I sure hope this goes okay in a couple of years with the farm. But, man, we got Hunter freaking Goodman, baby. If that's the case, you're going to see excitement out of me. Weaver from the Mets, I wouldn't be mad at that either. You're really not going to be hearing any negativity out of me if we go get Scooble, Hunter Goodman, the cream of the crop of this trade deadline. You're not going to hear any negativity out of me, man. I'll be happy that we got some good players. I'll worry about the farm later. Goodman would be crazy. That would be crazy. But I wouldn't be mad at it. How about keep Elias Diaz, feature Hunter Goodman as your number 1, and bye-bye Higgy and Danny Jansen. Love you guys. You're Rangers forever, but bye-bye. let's keep Diaz and let's roll with Hunter Goodman. That is the video you'll be seeing me post. Hey, how about the Mavs trading for Rissikar, man? I hope I'm not butchering that last name. Good little buy low, high upside move. Not bad. I mean, not season altering in my opinion, but it's a trade. It's a trade. It's one of those very good like buy low, and hopefully you get a lot of upside, man. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm positive on that trade. I am positive on the trade. I know some people are like, he sucks, man. He's terrible. I mean, yeah, he hasn't lived up to the hype, man. He was a number 1 pick. Like, he hasn't lived up to the hype, but the Mavs really didn't give up that much. That might be a video I need to cut tonight. I'm already seeing some people, like, talking negatively about the guy. And, yeah, he's 21 years old. He's got some talent, man. Like, it's possible that he just wasn't in the right spot. And it's possible that what we can do is unlock this guy. I do think that is very, very real. And the reality is the Mavs didn't really give up that much to get him. They really didn't. I'm going to need to maybe make a video on this, I think. I know it's tough. I feel like I get a little random when I hop into the Mavs stuff, just with how entrenched I am in Rangers right now. But you know what? Might have to make that video after I make the Rangers video tonight. I mean, that's kind of what I think too. Worst case, 15 points a game. And Darnell, this is kind of a money point. Like, I think this guy is going to fit in well. You drafted Rez to up your defense, so Cooper Flagg isn't doing all the dirty work, man. You got Rez, you got Flagg, now you got Rissikar. Like, I'm definitely seeing everything coming together here. I think it makes a lot of sense. We'll see what happens. Video may be coming on that later tonight. All right, y'all. I'm outie. We will see you guys tomorrow. White Sox game time. 5:05 for me, 7:05 for you guys in Texas. We'll be 8th or 9th inning once again. That'll be the plan. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a Rangers win, man. They dropped the series to the Braves. They lose 8-5 today, unfortunately. Rangers will look to rebound at home in Arlington, a place where over the course of the season, Rangers have definitely had some success, right? There's been some ups, there's been some downs, but by and large, the home cooking has been pretty good for Texas. So I would love to see them get back on track with a win. Rangers are 24-22 at home this year. Not a huge home field advantage there, but obviously you're a losing team on the road, just barely. But a winning team at home. You hope that the home cooking can do something special for them. Game 100 tomorrow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 years younger than Max Christie. That is some good perspective there. I like this. I'm gathering all this for the video I'm going to put out later. By the way, appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you for the likes. We got a number of those going on the TikTok today. Thank you for everything you do to help grow the channel. It definitely is never taken for granted. Tough hanging out on days like today where the Rangers kind of soil the bed. But you know what? Rain or shine, we're diehards. We're here. And we love talking ball. Man, they always feel a little bit better. I always say this. I always feel a little bit better after doing these. Hope you feel the same. Hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll have a couple videos out to you later today. And we will see you tomorrow for the live show. Hope you come back. If not, have a great week until I see you next time. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.